Hello there, very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Just 3 days left for winter session to wind up. Government informs Prime Minister will be present in Parliament. Congress BJP issues whip to MPs to be present in both the houses. Retail inflation falls to a 2-year low recorded at 3.63% in November. This after demonetization leads to lower consumer spending. India hails World Bank's decisions to temporarily halt 2 separate mechanisms in the Indus Water Treaty dispute, says it is ready to engage with Pakistan to resolve issues. Efforts still on to restore power and telephone services in Tamil Nadu 2 days after Cyclone Varda. Chief Minister Pannirselvam seeks 1,000 crore rupee relief from the centre for rehabilitation and reconstruction. And in Syria, rebel fighters and families are given a chance to leave Aleppo after government forces take over the crucial city. Buses arrive for evacuations, though unconfirmed reports claim mass executions by government troops. Now to what will be the big story today. Both houses of parliament convened today after a 4-day break and 3 days remaining in the winter session. It has seen very little work being transacted so far. And hoping to turn the tide, the government has now assured that the Prime Minister would be present in Parliament all 3 days. The big question is, will he address the demonetization issue in the House? Here's a report.
3 days left in the winter session of Parliament, and it is likely that the issue of demonetization will continue to cloud proceedings. The BJP and the Congress have issued whips to its MPs asking them to ensure their presence in both houses for the remainder of the session. In the Rajya Sabha, proceedings have been repeatedly disrupted over the issue, with the opposition wanting the PM's presence in the House during the debate.
सरकार का ये कथन रहा कि प्रधानमंत्री स्वयं बोलेंगे, इंटरवीन करेंगे, जिस तरह प्रधानमंत्री एहसान कर रहे हो, ये हमको स्वीकार्य नहीं था। इसी के कारण गतिरोध बना। भारत के अपने लोगों को अपने बैंक के खाते से उनका पैसा निकालने के अधिकार से वंचित किया गया। दूसरी तरफ कई ऐसे लोग हैं देश के अलग अलग हिस्से में जिनके पास दसियों करोड़ रुपया जो नया छपा है वो मिल रहा है, तो इसकी जवाबदेही किसकी बनती है?
In the Lok Sabha, the opposition has been demanding discussion under Rule 184 that entails voting. The government has slated discussion so far in the lower house under Rule 193 that does not entail voting. The government has reiterated it is ready for a debate provided the opposition allows both houses to function.
I would therefore urge my friends in the Congress party and the entire opposition, we are ready to debate this issue in Parliament, rise above slogans, and look at the positive advantages that this changed system in the long run is going to bring to the economy as a whole. And therefore, from a national perspective, I would appeal to the opposition to join in this campaign rather than create obstructions.
Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu has informed Prime Minister Modi will be present in Parliament for the remaining part of the session that ends on December 16. He also said the PM can participate in proceedings for either of the House depending on the need. Before the session commences today, both the BJP and the Congress will hold their strategy meetings. Parliament has seen little transaction of any substantial business because of the opposition ruckus over demonetization and some other issues since the session began. The Lok Sabha has managed to conduct only 2 legislative actions, the passage of Income Tax Amendment Bill and approval of the supplementary demand for grants. That too amid dim and without much debate. Rajya Sabha managed only a nearly 5-hour debate on demonetization on the first day of the session. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Congress continued targeting the NDA government on the note ban issue, while Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi accused the Prime Minister of waging a war against common people. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram termed the exercise a thoughtless move. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, however, defended the government's decision, stating that the situation will normalize in a few weeks.
The war of words between the government and the opposition on the issue of demonetization intensified on Tuesday. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi took the lead, visiting a food grain market on the outskirts of Delhi. Interacting with farmers and food grain traders in Dadri, Rahul said demonetization has been done to favor a handful of rich people at the cost of poor.
गरीब लोग, किसान, मजदूर, महिलाएं सब लाइन में खड़े हैं और जो काला धन वाले हैं वो बैंक के पीछे से पैसा निकालते हैं। मोदी जी ने कहा था मैं भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ूंगा। भ्रष्टाचार को उन्होंने बढ़ावा दिया, पूरा नया ब्लैक मार्केटिंग का सिस्टम तैयार किया।
Another senior Congress leader and former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram also launched a scathing attack on the government, terming the decision an absurd move and the biggest scam in country's history.
People of this country must be sensitized to the fact that this is an assault on the poor. This has broken the back of 45 crore people who depend on a daily wage and a daily income. The completely thoughtless, meaningless move by the government, and ultimately it may yield no results whatsoever.
However, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley defended the demonetization decision, saying the Congress party's scandalous record is making it uncomfortable. He also said that demonetization will help India become a less cash economy and digital payments will help shore up tax revenues and check evasions.
Each of the scandals which is even today discussed in the public space belongs to that period. Given this scandalous record, it is not surprising that the Congress party is extremely uncomfortable with this anti-corruption campaign that the NDA government led by Mr. Narendra Modi has launched.
Jaitley also said that there are transient problems, but the remonetization exercise will be completed soon and RBI will inject a significant amount in the banking system in next 3 weeks. Vishal Dhaya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
And the Reserve Bank of India has asked the public to freely use currency notes in their possession to keep them in circulation instead of hoarding them. Urging the public to do so, the RBI also said the banks have collected 12.44 lakh crore rupees in demonetized notes until now.
Banks have collected 12.44 lakh crore rupees in demonetized notes since the decision was announced on November 8. Addressing the media in Mumbai, the RBI requested the public to freely use notes they have.
System has been continuously gearing up for supporting the circulation of notes in the hands of the public. Daily we are issuing more and more notes, getting it printed and issuing it, and this will be a continuous affair, and the public are requested to freely use the notes that they have in their hands rather than hoarding it.
A senior RBI official was one of the 9 men arrested by the CBI in Bengaluru for allegedly exchanging 1.5 crore in banned currency notes. Nearly 1 crore was found in raids that were conducted over the past few days. The arrested people allegedly charged between 15 and 30% for conversion.
Reserve Bank of India and its team is also coordinating and collaborating with the various investigating agencies as they come back with the details of the action which are noticed by them.
The CBI has also arrested an alleged Hawala operator in connection with the seizure of 5.7 crore in new currency notes. CBI also registered a case against officials of 4 banks: State Bank of India, State Bank of Mysore, ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank.
In an operation of this size, there are always elements who would have behaved otherwise than what is expected of them, and we are keeping a constant vigil on the same. We have issued elaborate instruction to all the bank managements to do the central data checking, and whenever they find any inconsistency, it should be pursued further through their internal audit mechanism.
The Maharashtra police seized more than 1 crore rupees in new currency notes and detained 3 persons in Thane district.
उल्लासनगर के सेंट्रल पुलिस स्टेशन को एक इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली थी कि कुछ लोग नई करेंसी लेके बड़ी मात्रा में करेंसी लेके आने वाले हैं। उस हिसाब से उन्होंने ट्रैप लगाया था। तो रिलायंस पेट्रोल पंप के सामने रात के वक्त 3 लोग उन्हें संशयास्पद हालत में दिखाई दिए। तब उन्होंने उनको इंक्वायरी के लिए उनसे पूछताछ की तो कुछ समाधानकारक बता नहीं पाए।
In Hyderabad, 52 lakh rupees and 2,000 notes were seized by the police from a gang of 10 dacoits. All 10 people have been arrested. In another arrest, 2 persons were taken into custody by the police in Hyderabad. Unearthing a racket of illegal conversion of demonetized notes, the Enforcement Directorate has arrested 7 alleged middlemen and seized 91.94 lakh rupees in new currency in Karnataka as part of its money laundering probe. These arrests are the latest in a slew of arrests for money laundering or illegally exchanging currency since November 8, when demonetization became effective. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And retail inflation fell to a two-year low of 3.63% in November following the centre's demonetization drive that led to lower consumer spending on various food items, including vegetables. This is the lowest level since November 2014 when the retail inflation was recorded at 3.23%. The consumer price index-based inflation stood at 4.20% in October. Prices of vegetables declined by 10.29% during the month, while other essential food items like pulses, egg, meat and poultry products too turned cheaper due to weak demand amid the cash crunch. Among other price points covered, fruit prices remained stable with inflation print of 4.60% during the month. Cereals and products price went up by 4.86%, a tad up from 4.40% in October. Overall, the CPI index was down at 2.11% compared with the 3.32% in October. The CPI-based inflation in fuel and light segment was at 2.80% in November. Now, rural retail inflation stood at 4.13% in November compared to 4.78% in October. For urban sector, it was recorded at 3.05% as against 3.54% in the previous month. But the note ban issue aside, another controversy is set to rock Parliament today. Congress will raise the issue of Kiren Rijiju in Rajya Sabha. The Union Minister is allegedly involved in a 450 crore rupee hydroelectric project in Arunachal Pradesh. Brushing aside the allegations, the Minister of State for Home Affairs called the reports planted news. The Power Ministry too denied reports of the irregularities, saying that Rijiju had no role in the payment release.
The Congress on Tuesday accused Union Minister of State for Home, Kiren Rijiju, of involvement in a 450 crore rupees hydroelectric scam in Arunachal Pradesh. It has demanded his resignation till an investigation is conducted. The party also released an audio tape of a purported conversation between Rijiju and his cousin about the 600 megawatt power project. It also demanded an investigation against all the senior officials associated with the project.
किरण रिजिजू जी की भूमिका इस पूरे मामले में संदेह के दायरे में है और उसके प्राइमा फेसी सबूत ये उपलब्ध है। एक दिन भी गृह राज्य मंत्री माननीय किरण रिजिजू जी को अपने पद पर बने रहने का अधिकार नहीं। प्रधानमंत्री जो पारदर्शिता और ईमानदारी की बात करते हैं, उन्हें चाहिए कि वो इसकी जांच एक निष्पक्ष एजेंसी से करवाएं, तब तक गृह राज्य मंत्री को अपने पद से बर्खास्त करें।
Rijiju, however, brushed aside all allegations of corruption levelled against him and his distant cousin. He said people planting such news will be beaten up with shoes if they came to Arunachal.
This is shameful. Who has planted this news? To help your own people is corruption.
आपने लेटर नहीं लिखा? अभी छुट्टी
लिखेंगे।
आपने लिखा था लेटर?
ये जो ये न्यूज़ प्लान कर रहे हैं ना, हमारे वहाँ आएंगे तो सब जूते खाएंगे।
Rijiju, his distant cousin, a contractor and several other officials of the Northeastern Electric Power Corporation have been accused of corruption in the construction of the biggest hydroelectric project in Arunachal Pradesh. Their names have been mentioned in a 129-page report submitted by the Public Sector Undertaking's Chief Vigilance Officer. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are some more political reactions from different parties on the ongoing Rijiju controversy.
I think now that the allegations have appeared in the public realm, including definitive accusations or charges by the Chief Vigilance Officer, a police officer, Mr. Satish Verma, originally from Gujarat cadre, who was sent off to the northeast after he, I think, did not please the then authorities in Gujarat. But that is another question. Some charges have been made. They need to be responded to. The matter needs to be investigated. If there is anyone guilty, they need to be punished.
So in either case, it is the Prime Minister who has to take the call, because I don't have the papers to make any judgment on it.
अगर वो किरण रिजिजू साहब वो क्लियर है, अगर वो अपने आप को वो साफ साबित करना चाहते हैं, उसका एक जांच होना चाहिए, and he should clarify his name.
All right, we'll keep an eye out on developments coming in, of course, from Parliament. Meanwhile, another news, Cyrus Mistry has been removed as director of Tata Group's crown jewel, Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS. 93.11% of shareholders present at the extraordinary general meeting voted for his ouster. Tata Sons, which is the holding company for the salt to software conglomerate, holds over 73% of TCS shares. Mistry was on October 24th abruptly removed as the chairman of Tata Sons, but he continues to head several operating companies, in fact, of the group. His predecessor, Ratan Tata, who replaced Mistry as the interim chairman, is trying to tighten his grip by seeking to remove Mistry from boards of operating companies as well. The latest ouster comes after Tata Industries removed Mistry as a director after a shareholders' vote. After his removal from the board, Mistry also ceased to be the chairman of Tata Industries. Without a quick break here, we'll be back with more national and international news in a bit. Stay with us.
Harappan sites are a treasure trove of sophisticated pottery. These creations show tremendous advances by the potter's wheel. Creations like the perforated jar, the copper axe, the chisel and knives astound even present-day archaeologists. Figurines depicting yoga poses, chess pieces display a complexity unsurpassed even by later-day civilizations, all of which make the Harappan civilization truly unique.
Welcome back. Now let's get you more national news. And in a controversial move, the Jammu and Kashmir government has announced relief compensation for slain militant Burhan Wani's family in connection with the death of his brother in 2015. While the state government has called the announcement an administrative decision, the opposition has once again cornered the Mufti government on the issue.
Political parties objecting to the Jammu and Kashmir government's decision on Tuesday after the name of slain Hizbul Mujahideen militant Burhan Wani's brother figured on the compensation list of those killed in militancy-related incidents last year. The state administration published a public note on Monday giving 1 week's time to the general public for filing of any objection before formal orders for releasing the ex gratia payments are issued. The ex gratia relief was cleared for 17 others, including Khalid Wani, who died in fighting by security forces in the Tral forest area in April last year.
To award compensation to those which the Indian Army claims to be Hizbul Mujahideen's people reflects a compromise being made on India's integrity as also against the valiant efforts of India's army by a BJP-PDP government in Jammu and Kashmir.
It is totally illogical, unacceptable and challenge to the integrity of the Indian army. The only one way, dismiss the present government immediately in the national interest, country's interest, and save the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Compensation is always given to all those who were killed by the terrorists. Terrorists are not compensated as per law, and if there is any move, we will oppose that move.
Meanwhile, the state government has said that the compensations have been cleared tentatively and any objections on the issue is awaited.
It was a routine case among the 140 odd cases. There is nothing special about it, who was and who was not. It is not the case of who he was or he is not. Based on the preliminary reports, we have tentatively cleared it, but ultimately it will depend upon the objections filed by the departments that we will take a final call on it.
It's an administrative matter which has been dealt at the district magistrates level, at the level of that committee. What exactly are the further details and how did they go about it and what is the procedure from here on?
While the army said Khalid was an overground worker of the Hizbul Mujahideen and was killed in an encounter, his family has claimed that Khalid was tortured to death because he was Burhan Wani's brother. Burhan Wani's killing in July by security forces triggered unrest in the valley in which 86 people lost their lives. If the case is cleared by the government, Burhan's family may get an ex gratia of up to 4 lakh rupees, or the next of Khalid's kin may get a job. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
India on Tuesday hailed the World Bank's decision to temporarily halt 2 simultaneous processes into Indo-Pak dispute over the Indus Water Treaty. In fact, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Vikas Swarup said that India remains fully conscious of its international obligations and is ready to engage in further consultations on the matter of resolving differences regarding Kishanganga and Ratle projects. The World Bank's move to pause the process came nearly a month after India had strongly objected to the global body's inexplicable decision, saying going ahead with 2 separate mechanisms was legally untenable. The pause was announced by the group president Jim Yong Kim in letters to the finance ministers of India and Pakistan. It also emphasized that the bank was acting to safeguard the treaty. Under the Indus Waters Treaty signed between India, Pakistan and the World Bank in 1960, the bank has a specified role in the process of resolution of differences and disputes. Now to Tamil Nadu, where the death toll due to Cyclone Varda has risen to 18. 2 days after the mayhem, telecommunication network services still remain clogged, and the state government has also announced closure of schools and colleges for the third day today. Here are more details.
A day after Cyclone Varda made landfall in Chennai, the city is devastated. Chennai woke up to thousands of uprooted trees, broken billboards, snapped telephone and power lines, even as low-lying areas reported severe waterlogging. A total of 10,432 people were rescued by 19 NDRF teams in different parts of Tamil Nadu.
From today, we've pressed in 3 more teams because since yesterday, after the landfall, immediately NDRF teams began their operation of clearing the roads because due to the squally winds, a lot of trees and electric poles had fallen. So NDRF began its operation by cutting the trees, so that there was minimum inconvenience and to prevent dislocation.
तमिलनाडु के सीएम ने यह बताया कि सिचुएशन अंडर कंट्रोल है. मैंने कहा कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के और किसी असिस्टेंस की जरूरत होगी तो असिस्टेंस प्रोवाइड करने को हम तैयार हैं.
In terms of loss of human lives, the damage wasn't huge as authorities had already evacuated at least 20,000 people from low-lying areas. Schools and colleges were also shut as a precautionary measure. Flight operations resumed on Tuesday in Chennai as the city limped back to normal.
There have been 4 diversions in the morning, but we hope the weather will improve by 12 o'clock and hopefully things should be all right.
Resident volunteers have joined hands with the authorities to accelerate relief and rescue operations. Electricity is yet to be restored in many parts of Chennai. 2 ships of the Indian Navy arrived at the Chennai port with tons of relief material.
The ships have come with relief material, which include food, clothes, blankets, tents, medicine for distribution to the people of Chennai. We are in complete coordination with the state government. I am in touch with Secretary Public, and he has directed that all the relief material that is coming from Vizag on these ships has to be handed over to the Chennai Corporation.
Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam has urged the centre to sanction rupees 1,000 crores for relief and rehabilitation and reconstruction of the state. The Chief Minister also held a meeting with top telecom officials to ensure that the jammed mobile phone networks are restored. Cyclone Varda had struck the coast on Monday afternoon, making landfall about 15 kilometers from Chennai. The cyclone has weakened after crossing land and will pass over South Goa on Wednesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now to the top international story, and in what could put an end to over 5 years of rigorous fighting in Syria, military action has ended in eastern Aleppo. Syrian government forces have re-established control over the entire city and have allowed a passage for rebel fighters to leave with families. While evacuations are to begin in a short while, unconfirmed reports claim that mass executions are being carried out by President Assad's troops.
Военные действия в Восточном Алеппо прекращены. То есть не возникает вопроса о каких-то прекращениях огня, специальных гуманитарных операций. Сирийское правительство восстановило контроль над Восточным Алеппо. Так что теперь наступает этап практических гуманитарных действий, и населению нет необходимости выходить.
Military action ending in eastern Aleppo. This, as the United States called the violence in the besieged city a modern evil.
It is your noose. 3 member states of the UN contributing to a noose around civilians. It should shame you. Instead, by all appearances, it is emboldening you. You are plotting your next assault. Are you truly incapable of shame? Is there literally nothing that can shame you?
Despite Western and UN accusations of intentional killing of civilians, Russia says an agreement has been struck for rebels to evacuate the city without any harm to the civilians.
Контртеррористическая операция в Алеппо будет завершена в течение нескольких часов. Все боевики вместе с членами своих семей и ранеными в настоящее время выходят по согласованным коридорам в тех направлениях, которые они сами выбрали, в том числе в сторону Идлиба.
The deal signals Damascus's biggest victory over insurgents fighting to unseat President Bashar al-Assad in nearly 6 years of civil war. The opposition, however, says its resolve to remove President Assad from power has not wavered.
النظام وحلفاء النظام بشار الأسد وحلفائه إذا حققوا بعض التقدم في بعض أحياء حلب إننا سنقدم تنازل أو نساوم.
The end to fighting coming amidst UN human rights reports that pro-government forces killed at least 82 civilians in eastern Aleppo.
يلي وصلني من حلب انه وقف اطلاق نار بالاضافه الى اخراج اول 5 باصات تحمل المدنيين الى الريف الغربي ولكن ما عندي اي تفاصيل ثانيه.
The bus, which is expected to evacuate rebels and their families from Aleppo, arrived in the Syrian army-controlled area and evacuation point of Ramose. The buses arrived along with a bulldozer to open the street. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's a look at what else is making news across the world in World Wrap. Continuing with news from Syria, a coalition airstrike has killed 3 Islamic State leaders involved in plotting foreign attacks, including 2 men who helped facilitate last year's Paris attack. They were killed in a December 4th airstrike in Raqqa. All 3 were part of a network led by Boubacar al-Hakim, a Tunisian killed in an airstrike last month. Iraqi special forces recaptured a new district of eastern Mosul on Tuesday, expanding the army's foothold in the Islamic State bastion. The troops reportedly liberated and cleared out Al-Falah district in the eastern side of the city, with the US-backed campaign to crush the Islamic State in its Iraqi stronghold in its 9th week. Several thousands of Iraqi federal police are said to be ready to join the assault against the IS in East Mosul. As many as 568 people have been arrested in Turkey over alleged links to the Kurdistan Workers' Party militant group in the last 2 days. The operations were launched in 28 provinces across Turkey after the twin bombings in Istanbul on Saturday that killed 44 people outside a soccer stadium. Among those detained are members of the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, which is the parliament's second biggest opposition group. And that's it on the Breakfast News. Have a good day.